What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is your boy Frankie Bones, and in today's video, hopping back into Yankee Universe, gonna recap the series to start off the week against the Rays. An up and down series with lots of stuff going on all throughout, so we will break it all down. We'll go through the games, we'll talk key takeaways, we'll talk some trade deadline as well. We'll talk what's up, Doc, with some guys returning very, very soon and others not so much. And we'll wrap it up with who's on deck. Some important series here coming up in the next 2 weeks here for the Yankees. If you guys enjoy this video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you guys are new to not miss out on any Yankees content coming throughout the rest of the season. So, as you always should, we will start with game number 1. This game was on Monday. The Rays end up taking this one by a score of 5-1. This game was a weird one with Domingo slated to start. Doesn't end up doing so as a result of some weird injury going on under his arm. I don't know if it was his lat. They were saying it was like an armpit thing, but Johnny Brito ends up coming up to start. He doesn't end up pitching well, only goes 4. He allows 5 runs on 4 homers. So, obviously hate to see that. May have been a trade play to try and showcase him and end up making a move. But sure enough, who is there to come in right after Brito is German. So, very weird situation. We'll talk a little bit more about it here in key takeaways. But German goes 5 strong, 2 hits, no runs. And just really a weird situation, but overall the Yankee offense was just not there at all. In this one, only 3 hits and a solo shot, so just really tough to see the Yankee offense continue to look like this with some of the names that are in the lineup. Moving on to game number 2, the Rays take this one as well by a score of 5-2. Carlos Rodon on the bump for this one. Not his best outing by any means. He only throws 4 innings, allows 4 runs, 4 walks, 5 Ks. The walks have really been piling up for him. His command has just really not been there consistently throughout his first couple of starts here back from the injured list. But, this game looked a little bit closer than it really should have been. Yankees had 3 hits prior to the 9th inning. They end up rallying a little bit late. And ultimately, the Yankees have the tying run in the box. We call up Giancarlo Stanton to pinch hit. His numbers as a pinch hitter really are just not good. I think they're like 3 for 20 with, a majority of strikeouts, which he does again in this one to end the game. Just another difficult one to swallow, just sort of 2 back-to-back games. Offense not there. Starting pitching really getting them off on a bad foot to have to try and come back in these first 2 games. And finally, we'll wrap it up with game number 3. The Yankees surprisingly win this one by a score of 7-2. Obviously, Gerrit Cole on the bump for this one. He goes 7 strong, 4 hits, 2 runs, 8 Ks. He looks really good. Another great outing for him. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. Anthony Volpe and Giancarlo both hit home runs in the 3rd inning. Volpe with a 2-run shot the other way. Same thing for Big G. Liner out into the right field bleachers. The Yankees end up putting up a 5 spot to chase out Shane McClanahan through 4 innings, which I think was big for this team to try and get to the bullpen and just get the offense rolling a little bit. But again, comes at the, not expense, but as a result of the long ball, and able to put up some runs, which obviously is a good thing. The Yankees, after Gerrit Cole, go Canley to Clay. 5 strikeouts between the 2 of them over 2 innings. Really good stuff from them, and I guess somewhat of a positive takeaway from the series loss against the Rays. Moving on to key takeaways, the first thing to talk about is what's the deal with the Brito and German situation. It's just really weird the way that they went about it. The story just sort of seemed, or their explanation just seemed a little bit weird and just didn't seem to add up. Just seemed like it was a clear move to try and get Brito in front of the eyes of the people see if they can potentially sell him. Doesn't work out. Domingo had this phantom injury, couldn't see the doctor till 5 p.m. I'm sure that was a team doctor, so just a weird situation. And obviously Domingo pitches well and sort of got the green light like 2 hours before the game started, so maybe it was just better safe than sorry. I don't believe it has anything to do with the news that came out about Domingo German yesterday. Just want to talk about this briefly because it's been covered a lot, but Domingo German has agreed to enter into an inpatient alcohol abuse program, and as reported, this has sort of been an issue for a little while, as reported by Brian Cashman, and just wishing the best for Domingo. I mean, that's a real world problem. Clearly, that's not a very healthy thing to be dealing with, and I'm glad that he's seeking the help. Really disappointing to see all the trolls out on Twitter. Obviously, it's Twitter, but just sort of disgusting at some point when the news came out, just all the people saying things about him. Probably everybody, somebody in their family has dealt with alcohol abuse, and just sort of sad to see. Again, obviously it's Twitter, but just sort of disgusting in my opinion, but don't think it had anything to do with that. But still just really weird overall optic that sort of cost us this first game in a Rays series that would have been a really big win to have. Moving on to our second key takeaway, talking about the deadline again, the Yankees stand pat at the deadline. According to Brian Cashman, we all knew sort of what he was going to say, and John Boy and Jake alluded to it very well, but apparently our ask was just really high for our rental players, just sort of unwilling to sort of reset and take the prospect haul. Weren't willing to move on Glaber. I think we stood pretty high on our price there that we discussed last episode, but didn't really make a ton of sense to make big moves to buy here. I don't think a lot of pieces were really there at the time where we decided what direction we were going to go, but really just didn't do anything besides pick up two decent relievers for the best bullpen in baseball. So really odd, and ultimately just not getting any outfield help was definitely a head scratcher. Obviously Brian Cashman talking about needing a left fielder for so long, and naturally we don't do that. So definitely a really frustrating deadline for the fans, and we'll just have to see how this team plays, because that's sort of all we got at this point besides calling guys up, which hopefully we do. Moving on to the third key takeaway, flipping to the positive side now, Gerrit Cole continues his push for AL Cy Young. He pitches really well here against the Rays. The Yankees have now won 16 of his 23 starts on the season, which is great. A couple of those I think should have been wins and, weren't. But highlighting some of his numbers on the season overall, he has a 10-2 record. He has a 2.64 ERA, which continues to go lower and lower. He has a 2.12 batting average, opponent batting average, and he's 157 strikeouts compared to 38 walks. So overall, just a really good body of work. He has a whip just over 1. And if he continues to pitch this well down the stretch, I think he's definitely in line to get that Cy Young, and something that he's been chasing for throughout his entire career. The last key takeaway to talk about, Aaron Judge, the captain. He plays in all 3 games this series. A really important series for us, and just unfortunate that we weren't able to win it, but he DH'd every game, so I'm not sure if that plays into when he'll be resting or things like that. Obviously, it's sort of trying to figure out how his toe is responding to the everyday wear and tear, how he's feeling every day. I think he's most likely going to get an off day either tonight or tomorrow night against the Houston Astros, but again, another really big series against a team that is in the wild card right now. So hopefully he continues to feel well. He feels that, not pressure, but he feels that need to really be in this lineup, and as the captain will speak out and say, hey, these are really important games. I need to be in there. I need to help this team. But overall, still exciting to see him play those 3 games in a row. Moving on to What's Up, Doc. we'll go through this relatively quickly. Nestor Cortez, he ultimately will not be completing his last rehab assignment as a result of some of the things that have gone on the past few weeks and also this week with Domingo German. He is going to actually make his next start in the Bigs, so he's going to pitch this weekend against the Houston Astros. It's believed that his pitch limit will be at about 60, so definitely wish that would have been a little bit higher. So as a result of that, we may see a guy like Brito or Vasquez, Devi Garcia, somebody maybe come up for a long relief effort to try and save this bullpen, but we'll have to see how that plays out. But hopefully we're able to get through about 4, and happy to have Nasty back. Moving on to Jonathan Loaizaga, he rehabbed on Wednesday in Scranton. He gets a 1-2-3 inning, no strikeouts, but the reports were that he looked good, and his plan is to rejoin the Yankees during the Chicago White Sox series. So that's after the series with Houston, and it'll be good to have him as another bullpen arm to be able to bolster this back end. I mean, if he continues to look good, he can be a really valuable piece for this team. And just adding another high leverage guy that just sort of bumps everybody down, lengthens his bullpen, and just continues to add to the strength of this team. And the last guy that we're going to talk about is actually Josh Donaldson. And it's weird because he was hitting in the cage and sort of hitting bombs. And sort of just a weird situation. Trust me, I'm happy that ultimately he was put on the 60-day, not wishing for anybody to get injured, but man, the guy was stinking, and due to the severity of the reported injury, or the reported severity of the injury, this timeline sort of made sense for him, but, who knows what's going on. He looks good hitting in the cage, and I think he was puzzled as well by being put on the 60-day, saying he wasn't really consulted about what opportunities may arise and what his return to play would look like, but pretty interesting. He's just about shelved for the year. And finally, we'll move to who's on deck. Talk about who is coming up next for the New York Yankees. As I'd mentioned, starting tonight and for the next 4 nights, we will be hosting the Houston Astros. Really big series for us. They currently hold a wild card spot, and just really would be a big series to win. Obviously, it's a little optimistic of me to say that, but even a split would be massive. The Yankees need to continue piling up wins while they can, and obviously not going to be an easy task against the Astros, but we have to find a way to get wins at this point, especially against teams in front of us, if we're going to try and make something happen here this season. After we host the Astros, we'll go on the road to take on the Chicago White Sox, which at this point is a must win. They dealt a ton of pieces, and, I would say arguably needs to be a sweep to give this Yankees team a boost of momentum. Definitely have to win it. But following that, the Yankees will take on the Marlins in Miami, so going to be a difficult series there as well. A team that's been playing really well this year, and will be difficult to take 2 out of 3 from them. But the Yankees have to start winning series. It's plain and simple. We need to start making up ground, and we need to start making it happen. Starting with Game 1, we have to start playing well in Game 1 of the series to give us a little bit of momentum and a little bit of flexibility as well throughout the rest of the series, whether it be Aaron Judge, the bullpen, or just sort of where people are playing. But let me know in the comment section below what you guys thought of this series overall. Please no Domingo German comments unless it's saying, hope you get better. Obviously don't like the toxicity there from Twitter, but, a handful of positives to be able to take out from this series. I'm going to try and do my best to do so as an optimist in myself, but would love to hear what you guys have to say. But for now, that's going to do it for this video, guys. This has been your boy Frankie Bones, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Peace out.